So hi, James.
Hey.
It's NAMM, and you're with Five12, which is a sequencer, right? Show us some of the new features.
Sure. So this is the vector sequencer. We've got it in this little mini skiff, new for NAMM. And it's for people who want to have it to use with MIDI equipment and maybe some CV-capable equipment that's not eurorack, so they have it in a nice small case. Very easy to get started to use. I'm going to start by going to the gate page, turning on some gates. I can go over to edit page, pitch page, start editing in some pitches. I go back to the gates, turn all the gates on. Lots of little tricks, like I can hold the shift key and turn encoder 9, transpose the entire sequence by octaves, or just turn encoder 9, transpose them all together. There are also a lot of generative capabilities, so I can go to I'm going to clear out this pattern, go to the control page, dial down here where I can set a generative pattern. In this case, this is acid number 1. Hold down the shift key, press the gen button. I've got a 16-note pattern now. If I don't like that, I can regenerate that. Sit here and go until I find something I like. Or go back and say I want to pick a Berlin school pattern. Shift gen. Do that a few times. Or I can pick oblique 1, which is a much more abstract pattern generator. So that can get a little while. Or I can start, let's say I've got a Berlin school pattern I like. I can bring it down an octave. I can go over to the chance ops page. And let's say on step 4, I want to set it to jump backwards about 50% of the time.
And we're sequencing the Novation Peak here, right?
Yeah.
So there's no CV or gate going on?
No, this is all just MIDI.
Okay.
All just MIDI. Works equally well with MIDI and CV. Another trick I can do is I can select, say, 2 of these steps, edit it to run skips. Easy way to get a little more change in the pattern. I can set up a subsequencer, say 4 steps long, whole notes, semitone transposition, turn that on, page over to the sequencer, and let's say I want to leave it as the same for 2 bars and then go down 5 semitones and then 7 semitones. We bring this back up an octave so it's a little easier to hear. So very easy to take a simple 8-step sequence, expand it out to several bars, add some variations so it's constantly changing. A couple of other new things we've added recently. I'm going to mute this part and bring up the chords. Edit part 5. So this is a chord part, and these are kind of just some random intervals we already had programmed in. But you get the bass note, otherwise known as the lowest note or the bass note, and then an interval you can select. So you can select any intervals from a unison up to, there's an octave, and then you have a major third, a major triad, minor triad, augmented, diminished, sus2 and sus4 chords, and then a full set of 7th chords. You can also switch this, that's into a custom chord, and now I can use encoder 9 to say set each of the 3 semitone offsets from the bass note. So now I have a 4-note chord. That's going to be the bass tone, and then 4 semitones, 7 semitones, 10 semitones up. So you can program custom chords. You can do them over a pretty wide range. You can go up, I think, about 3 octaves on this. So you can program some nice, big, wide chords. Another trick we recently added are drum parts. Unmute that and start this. So we got the Volca sample here running 4 voices here. I actually added a little extra code for the show to split the MIDI output across 4 channels. The drum sequencer is 4 lanes, so we can select the lane with encoder 9, adjust the velocity here, or we can set it up so we can mute and unmute steps all in one go. We can also select all the steps for that lane and adjust them as a group. And still get all the same chance operations, so I can set up a jump. Let's make it 100%, but only every 4 bars. So it's a simple way to get a fill going. I can also say, select a couple steps. I'm going to program these every 4 bars to do a ratchet.
So do you have, as you had the kind of generative stuff for pitch sequences, do you have generative stuff for the drum?
Yeah, we have a bit going on. Let me turn this down a bit. So we've got 3 or 4 drum generator algorithms kind of taken from numerology and tweaked a little bit. So the cell pattern starts with a short pattern and then repeats it out over several steps. We also have what I call the mall patterns. These are just a little wilder, a little more, sometimes a little more sparse. We have some Euclidean pattern generators built in. And I also have a couple of hybrid patterns where like 2 lanes will be the cell type, which tends to be more regular, say every 4, every 8 steps repeat, and then the Euclidean patterns on the 2 other ones. And then we also have the evolve functions, right? So you can generate a pattern and you want to tweak it a little bit, you can hit the evolve. It'll make smaller variations to the patterns, so you can get new kinds of things going on. And also for people who like to program on a grid, we started adding some Launchpad integrations. So we got a Launchpad Mark II plugged in directly to the vector on USB. And I can go in and edit the pattern here. You know, really handy for just roughing out a pattern.
Yeah, that's really quick as well.
Yeah, and you can.
Lots of people have these kind of things.
Yeah. They're easy to get. They work really well. So you can have a little bit.
Is it specifically the kind of the bigger Launchpad, or will any kind of Launchpad?
It'll work with any kind of Launchpad.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, you know, I gotta pick up a Launchpad X soon and make sure that that's working smoothly. But even the very first generation, the red-green LED ones work fine. So you can have, you know, your pitch sequence running here, all your sequences running out of here. Edit the pitched one here. Move over here to tweak the drums. Eventually we'll have preset and scene selections, so you can do your arrangements, have that dedicated for arrangements for a live set.
Excellent. So the vector sequencer is obviously already out, but this case, when are you hoping to kind of have that ready?
Sometime this spring. We just got the power boards a few days ago, so we got to get quotes on everything. It's a 3D printed case, so we can do neat tricks like switch the filament mid-print, so we got a nice red stripe. You know, and you get kind of this interesting texture from a 3D printer, but we like it. And you know, it will be less than 100 US with power for sure.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's a good price.
So, very easy to add that in if you want to have the sequencer but not move to the full eurorack experience yet.
Excellent. Well, James, thank you very much.
Thank you.